Welcome to the Dream Room, where creative minds gather to breathe life into bold visions. I'm your host, Amytra, and today I'm feeling honored, humbled, and hyped because we have in the house a man who has shaped sound, culture, and creativity behind the scenes and on the stage. He's the former music director and current trustee for the Grammy Awards, a legendary producer, arranger, and vocalist who's worked with everyone from Whitney Houston to Michael Jackson. And now he's bringing all that wisdom to the page with his new book, The Art and Business of Songwriting. Please welcome to the Dream Room, the maestro himself, Larry Batiste.
Thank you so much, Amytra. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, of course. Larry, I want to start right at the beginning because the way someone hears music as a child says so much about the artist they become. What's your earliest memory of music?
Oh my God, music has always been around me. Growing up, I grew up in Oakland in a little section called Brookfield Village, and just walking down the streets and people hearing music come out of the houses and through the cars. And I've always loved music. And I think my earliest memory, I can't really pinpoint the exact one, but music has always just been in my DNA, my family. And when I realized that, wow, I could create this thing, it's been a journey. It's been a wonderful journey.
I heard you talking in another interview. So I brought this old vinyl record because we both have uncles that played sax, do we not?
Oh, Hank Crawford.
Does my
Oh,
uncle.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was musical director for Ray Charles, and he's no longer with us.
Awesome. Great
Yeah.
musician.
Thank you. You knew him?
I didn't know him.
Oh.
I think I've met him, but I can't
Yeah.
say I knew him. But I was like in the audience somewhere going,
He was on the Berkeley record label.
yeah, I think he was on Fantasy Records, maybe.
Fantasy, yeah.
And I was signed to Fantasy Records
You were.
early
It's a
on.
small world.
Yeah. And so I walked down the hallways and would see, sometimes I run into people like that and just see their albums all over the place
Oh, it's a
and
small
stuff.
world.
So I was heavily influenced by jazz and the people that came before me.
How much of an influence was your uncle?
The way he influenced me, I didn't get a chance to see him because he passed away when I was around 7.
Oh,
But he played with the Duke Ellington and people like that. I can't remember all the greats he played with. But by the time I was aware of him, he was sick, he was alcoholic and all this type of stuff. And that was a terrible ending. But the blessing out of that was that my aunt, his wife, at that time felt like it was music. Music was evil, and none of these people, all that. So when he passed away, she didn't want anything musical in the house, whatever. So she gave away things. Like he gave his sax to someone, and we got the piano.
wow.
And so that was my gift from him and from her, because this piano sat in our garage, and no one in my house was musical. This piano became a catch-all in the garage. His clothes was sitting on top of it and all that. But as I was a kid growing up and things would happen to me, I would retreat to the garage where this piano was, but nobody wanted to mess with it. And I started to peel the things off of it. And I sat down and I played a note. I'm going, oh my God, that's beautiful.
Oh,
And I played another note. I'm going, that sounds good together. And I played another note with those two, and that became a chord. So I'm going, with this chord sounds good with this chord. And with those two chords, I began to write songs.
at what age?
I was about 9 or 10 by then.
Oh.
Music was healing in my medicine. So as a kid, when things would happen with me or whatever, I would retreat to this garage, to this piano that no one was interested in. And it was all mine. And I was able to document my situation in a song.
Do you
And-
remember your first song?
They all sucked.
It's okay.
I don't remember. But for me, they worked.
Yeah.
It was my healing. And
Yeah, for sure.
once I was able to document the situation, I was able to go back out into the world and do my thing, because I always had this thing to retreat to. So music has always been my medicine, my healing. So I learned that at an early age, and I began to, as I grew older, I began to develop my songwriting and really listen and go, oh, okay, they're telling the story here, and learning what that stuff was all about.
Okay. I won't push you on that first song, but we know what it was about, whatever you were going through in the moment. So how did your path evolve from being a musician to a music director to an author?
Yeah, I evolved. Sometimes God is steering you to places and you don't know why you're there or whatever, what it's going to lead to. So I just been blessed to the point where all the things, all my experiences kind of led up to that. I started playing trombone in the fourth grade, and then that led to me being in bands and all this kind of stuff. But then I went on to college and was a trombone major. Part of that, getting that degree, is that you have to take all these instruments. You have to understand all the instruments. And that's part of that understanding, to know how to arrange, to know your theory. Each semester, I would take a different instrument. I would take flute, and I sucked at all the instruments. But I understood what they did. So I had to do that. I took violin. I couldn't stand to hear myself practice. I was like, but I didn't understand while I was learning all these things and how they relate. But I realized that it was because God wanted to be a musical director. So at an early age, I wasn't intimidated to stand in front of an orchestra, to write for an orchestra, and to be able to talk to musicians and relate to them. Say, no, I need you to play this, to write things that weren't out of the range of a particular instrument and understand how they operated. So he was setting me up to be an arranger, to be a producer, to be a musical director, and all that, and have the musicians respect me because I could talk their language. That was his plan, not my plan. I'm going like, okay, this is giving me a legitimacy in what I want to do, besides just being a feel-good writer and all. That's all good. But to be able to apply it and then to connect with people.
What was being a musical director for the Grammys like, a day in the life?
Oh, it was amazing because 80% of the gig is communication, being the people working out logistics. The music part is the easy part. It's the fun part. Is you talk to the artists about the arrangements, the songs, and all that kind of stuff. And that's my wheelhouse. But a lot of the gig was hiring the musicians, working out the back line, which is the instruments that everyone has to play. Musicians have endorsement deals, so you have to make sure when you're ordering their instrument is with who they're endorsed with.
I see.
Because let's say the keyboard player is endorsed by Roland, you can order him a Yamaha keyboard, and then it's on the TV or some whatever, that kind of thing, working with union contracts. I spent a lot of days at the computer working out what's going to happen, making the itineraries. What is the load-in situation? If somebody has an artist with their parking or their limo driver or their whatever, set them with the right person to do that. So it's like really being organized and being a great communicator. And that's just being blessed with not only musical skills to be able to arrange and write, but also be able to communicate with people, get back to people right away, to let them know what's going on and ask the right questions and all those type of things. That's all part of the job. So the day in the life of a musical director is very busy.
You were multitasking for sure.
And stuff. And then also being able to handle all the arrangements. And what I love about that particular gig was I love all genres of music because, of course, the Grammy Awards is multi-genre. So when I'm trying to figure out what the walk-on music is, if the category is best bluegrass, then I have to study bluegrass and come up with the best bluegrass jam so that they feel good about honoring their category and their genre of music. Classical, country, rap, whatever it is. So I had to really do a lot of homework on all those genres and do them well and put the pieces together. So I learned a lot, and I learned to love all and embrace all types of music. And there's excellence in everything.
There sure is.
So I got lots of respect for whatever you do.
Yeah.
You know?
Now listen, before we get too deep into theory, I got to give props to one of your superpowers, and that is funk. You wrote some hits for Bill Summers, or were part of the writing process. Bill Summers and the Heat Band?
Yeah, the Bill Summers and Summers Heat
And
was
Summers
a band that I could say had my first top 10 songs with Bill Summers and Summers Heat. Bill Summers is a percussionist who got his career because he's a class act in himself. But I guess his claim to fame is that, first of all, he did all the percussion work for the docuseries Roots with Quincy Jones. And so as Kunta Kinte is going through the jungle and all that African stuff, he created all that. Of course, you know the success of Roots. From that, he joined the Herbie Hancock band, the Headhunters, and that's his sound that he created. So, of course, Herbie Hancock and the Headhunters had tremendous success. And from that, he went into a solo career, and that's where I come. When some of my mentors advised him or suggested that he contact myself and my business partner, Clay Tobin Richardson, the guy who I started the publishing company with in the 12th grade. I haven't told that story yet. But anyway, we became his collaborators and we had a lot of success together. The three of us co-produced all the records and co-wrote most of the songs that we recorded. That was a great run.
What is it about funk that still resonates across generations?
Oh, funk. Oh, golly. Funk is just something that you can't describe. It's just feel good. It's feel good music. You don't know why you said, I mean, it's like putting the sauce on whatever. It's an exclamation point. And I think it's just really special.
One of the earliest funk songs that I was so into was Jam the Box. I really enjoyed that
Thank you.
song. I love it.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank
God, we had
you.
fun with that. It just seems like life was so much simpler then.
No.
People, it's just a lot of crazy stuff going on now. But music was like that too. Business didn't seem shady, of course. In everything, there's some kind of crazy stuff
For
going
sure.
on.
For sure.
But yeah, it was a lot more fun. And putting together those songs was great. It was really easy. That song, Jam the Box, and one of the biggest songs probably out of that era was for me, and that group was Call It What You Want, was a song that I co-wrote. It was myself, Bill Summers, and a guy named Kevin Toney, who just passed. Kevin Toney was one of the founding members of the
Tony?
Blackbirds. Kevin Toney.
Oh, okay. I was
Mhm.
thinking Tony son.
Yeah, right.
They're also Oakland.
Right. There's all, those are my guys. Rest in peace, Dwayne Wiggins.
Mm.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way funk fuses rhythm and space and attitude, it feels like it lives in your musical DNA.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah.
Let's dig into the heart of the matter, your book, The Art and Business of Songwriting. I love that it's not just about making music, but about making a life in music.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. In the book, you talk about elements like the driver, the hook, the middle eight. I hadn't even heard that term until I read your book. Signature riffs.
Yeah.
Could you break down what these mean and why they matter in a successful song?
Well, songs are about making a connection. We relate to certain things that I always remember, and everybody I think remembers a particular song that was happening during a situation in their life or period in their life. You could always remember something, and writing songs that connect. These elements that are in these songs are connecting elements that I think with the writing a song, there's no right or wrong. You know, the composer is never wrong, but there are certain elements in songs help you to connect with an audience or with the person. So when we talk about signature riffs, that's an element of a song that identify with that particular song and that song only. When you hear don't do 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 do, well, the first two bars, that's satisfaction,
Yeah.
you know. Or it's so many. 90% of all his songs have signature riffs, whether people recognize it or not. Is that element of the song that's related to that song. So that's really important connector right off the top. Of course, great hook, great melody, but creating the hypnotic melody where a person just wants to sing and it's the perfect fit with the lyric and that kind of thing. And to write the kind of melody that people just hum along in safe way or whatever.
Right.
And that's who we're writing for. We're not writing for musicians in particular because back in the day when people bought records, musicians didn't buy records.
Right.
So you're writing for the everyday person. So you want to write in something that people could relate to, situations that people could relate to. That, oh, that happened to me, that kind of thing, right? And you write in the melody, you want to don't write any big jumps or whatever. People don't sing like that.
Right.
They sing stepwise. So it's like usually it's melody is like nursery rhymes. Do 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 do. It's stepwise, and those are things that people could remember and grab hold to. In terms of music and melody, you want to go there. You want to keep your chords pretty simple, something that have great phrasing and sections like that. Those are relatable things and topics. Of course, love is always a great topic, but social issue and just creating great stories as you go along. There's all kinds of methods of writing. I like to think of the chorus first. That way you know where you're going because all verses lead to the chorus. And that's where the solution lives. That's where the hook is. That's the thing where you leading to. So you basically want to start the song in the first verse. You basically introducing the characters, the situation, the setting, the scenery. You setting all that. I consider songs to be like mini movies, right? You
Yeah.
go to a movie, but this movie is told in 3.5 minutes.
Yes.
4 minutes. So, so that first verse is like the opening scene where you go, okay, I'm sitting here in my living room, talking to Amytra about what happened yesterday and that kind of thing. And so you say, okay, but it's you incorporating, situation, action, all those type of things. And I'm sitting with a character and I'm going to go, well, what happened? That leads to the next part of the story. You introduce the characters, the situation, the setting in the first verse usually, and you don't have to have a B section or whatever, but you can. They help you set up the chorus, go into the chorus, and then in the second verse is usually, okay, and then what happened? The story continues, right? The story continues. It's like that. So you tell a great story, and then you always have subplots, like in the film, and I call those counter melodies. Those are like other things that happen, like answers, like call and response. You have a counter melody that goes with the main melody that kind of answers it, that kind of thing. So those to me are like subplots. And I know this is a long answer.
No, you're the master. You're the maestro. You're the master.
No, I look at it like that. And then songs don't have to have a bridge, but sometimes they have a bridge. The purpose of the bridge is a diversion. Diversion was like, okay, everything is going this way, then what about something else to kind of freshen it up, whatever. So if your song is called I Hate You, and then you say, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. That's the chorus. Everything is leading up to that. And then you first verse, you did this, you did whatever. And then second verses, and then what happened? And then you did this or whatever. So your bridge might be reminiscent about the time you got together and how wonderful it was.
Right.
And all that. And then the transition going back into that, I hate you is the last two lines maybe. Oh, then you slept with my best friend. And that's why I hate you. Transition going into that, you know what I'm saying? So your song has shape and all that, and it's always something that people could relate to.
Would you say that earworm and hook are the same thing?
Yeah, ear candy, earworm, and
earworm is like something like that. You just keep wanting it over
it's
and
hypnotic.
over.
Oh yeah. That's hook, and that's what you want your hook to be, like an earworm.
Yeah.
I've never heard that term, but yeah, that's what you want it to be, because that's the part that everybody sings along with.
Yeah.
That's the part everybody knows. I remember back in the day when I used to buy records and people used to buy records. Sometimes I go to the record store and I couldn't remember the name of the song, but I started singing the hook.
Right.
Because that's what I remember, right? So that's why the hook is so important, the thing that you can't, your earworm, that you can't get out of your head.
Would you be willing to break down a couple of songs? I was thinking maybe one popular song and one not, probably no one knows. I decided to use Prince because we happen to be talking on the anniversary of his passing.
Oh, really?
In 2016. I was a big Prince head.
Oh, God, me too.
Oh, I love that man's music.
Yes.
And he could tell a story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And paint a picture.
Very visual. Oh,
Very vivid pictures, yeah.
Yeah, Prince is excellent. What song is it?
When Doves Cry.
When Doves, oh my good, yes.
And then you just tell me when you need me to stop or whatever. I got to get past this little commercial.
You on YouTube?
Yes.
It's good that you can do so much on your laptop. Oh, those are like signature riffs in itself. Whatever song starts like that, and the guitar and all that. When you hear that, you know it's When Doves Cry, right? Anyway, so right there, some people write hooks on top of hooks on top of hooks. Is that layering type of thing. Anyway, keep going. Stop there. Next signature riff, dunk, gang, gang, gang. Dunk, gang, gang. That's the signature riff.
Yeah.
Dunk, gang, gang, gang. No, it's like before he even starts the verse, you go, he don't even have to sing. If you hear don't, dun, dun, dun.
It's like it's singing to you, huh?
That's When Doves Cry. You don't have to sing a word. Okay, go ahead. Stop right there. Now, in the beginning of his song's first verse, he's incorporated action, detail, imagery,
Mhm.
your body sweating, your all the courtyard and all that. You get a picture, sense of he puts you in that place
Yes.
of okay, you're right there. You understand where he is,
You're
and
there with him.
he's asking you just to picture those things.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that's what I was talking about. The first verse setting up the characters and incorporating the action detail, the imagery, and all that kind of stuff. So.
Mhm.
Animals strike curious poses. They feel the heat between me and you. Just leave me standing, alone in a world that's so cold. Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe you're just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry.
Okay, start right there. Some songs leads up to the hook, and the hook is sometimes a stanza all in itself. You
Mhm.
sing the hook. This type of writing is where he mentions the title of the song at the end of the verse.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that's the form of this song, which is really cool. I like what he talks about and relating to people. He talks about his mother and father and the mother who's never satisfied. What people could relate
Yes. Yes.
to that. And even if it's not true, is what young people sometimes think when they have parents. It's like they think they're on them all the time or
Mhm.
whatever. So whether that's really happening or whether it's not happening, I think a lot of people could relate to that. So I think having relatable subjects. But I like this type of song too, because usually the hook is a hook by itself. But in this particular instance, the hook, the title comes at the end of the verses.
Mhm.
Like, the song, Billy Joel's, she's always a lady to me, always a
Mhm.
woman to me. So da 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 ba da 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 da. She da 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 da, but she's always a woman to me,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's that type of thing. Okay.
Cool. I was kind of confused because when I was listening, I've listened, I must have listened to this song 1,000 times. I
Yeah,
was thinking, is this a bridge?
right,
And
exactly.
then all of a sudden he's saying when doves cry, and I'm like, well, maybe not.
Right. What he uses for the hook is, in place of that, is the signature riff.
Dun,
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 dun, dun, dun. Usually
Yeah.
people sing along with the hook.
Yeah.
People sing along with dun,
'Cause I
dun,
do.
dun, dun, right. Dun, 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 dun. That's the hook. Yeah. So all good. Yeah.
In my stomach, feel how it trembles inside. You've got the butterflies all tied up. Don't make me chase you, even doves have pride. Just leave me standing, alone in a world so cold. Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe you're just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry.
Mhm.
How can you just leave me standing, alone in a world that's so cold? Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe you're just like my mother.
Goes to back to the mother thing. That's like a refrain that he continues on. Like you got that. It's like another hook. That's catchy and he knows it's catchy.
Yeah.
So he goes back to it. But I love
I-
the story continues. It's great.
I notice how he's layering more and more as the song goes on.
As the song goes on, he adds more parts
Then
because
there's background vocals. Then there's harmonies.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
there's-
And that's a part of building and building a song, especially you have a song like this where basically the melody is the same. Da 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 da. The second verse melody is the same. Third verse melody is the same. So what he does with the third verse, he adds a pad, a chord in that come underneath. The synthesizers comes in, whatever.
It's building
So you
momentum.
got introducing more character, more flavor as it goes on, so you can keep his melody the same. And then to enhance all that, he adds harmony to the melody, so it builds and just more ear candy, as you say. And it's all good. What a great production.
Oh my gosh, he's amazing. So I'll just go on to the little known song.
Is this song been released, or is it an original song that's never?
It's an original song.
Okay. All right.
And it's called Writ of Love.
Siri, define writ.
Writ means a form of written command in the name of a court or other legal authority to act or abstain from acting in some way.
Amytra said it, and I agree. Sometimes to be free, you must disrupt the peace. Shouldn't have to fight for human rights. Thank you, Dr. King, we'll be living the dream.
No matter your brand, your money, your suit, coming rude, you get the boot. No matter your color, your class, your creed, you got the order, you better heed. Become one family so we don't get got. Divided we fall, are you ready or not? Let's get it, let's go, let's rock, let's roll. Are we woken up for a bit of love?
Wake up now, greet the dawn. Get up and get it on. Dance and sing a song. Some would fold, I will roll. This thing called life. If you say I'm down, I won't believe a lie.
No matter your brand, your money, your suit, coming rude, you get the boot. No matter your color, your class, your creed, you got the order, you better heed. Become one family so we don't get got. Divided we fall, are you ready or not? Let's get it, let's go, let's rock, let's roll. Are we woken up for a bit of love? Dark night of the soul, hunt for your Babylon. Chariot come, tower falling, cultural pride, pacifist action. Not mutually exclusive, but a love faction. Democracy, autocracy, we free yet? Here's the thing, plague dead, don't sleep on me. We're not free yet. Between COVID and bad cops, I can't breathe air. Why do we need to seek conclusion? When over the earth we are one dreaming by God's court. We are called to enact a writ of love over all the earth, but let it start in our own yards. Still looking for answers, seeking truth and compassion. Address hate in our nation as a root cause. Like Malcolm, let us study, speak truth. Pray to God, problem solve, point blank, period. No matter your brand, your money, your suit, coming rude, you get the boot. No matter your color, your class, your creed, you got the order, you better heed. Become one family so we don't get got. Divided we fall, are you ready or not? Let's get it, let's go, let's rock, let's roll. Are we woken up for a bit of love?
I bring sun to the rain, sun to the rain. Make good from my pain, make good from my pain. Haters come, I rise above. From God's court come down a writ of love.
No matter your brand, your money, your suit, coming rude, you get the boot. No matter your color, your class, your creed, you got the order, you better heed. Become one family so we don't get got. Divided we fall, are you ready or not? Let's get it, let's go, let's rock, let's roll. Are we woken up for a bit of love?
I like that. What I like about that, it's not a big production and all that, but it feels good. It's really cool. I think to make a better connection, the audience needs something to sing along with. Prince had da, 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 da. And so like this song, I know you Writ of Love is the end of that phrase. First of all, I can't understand all the words that they're saying, but that's because I haven't heard the song a lot. But still, if it had something, a signature riff or something that it went to, or even a hook phrase that after you said dun, 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 the Writ of Love, or something like that, everybody would get that as a long, easy phrase. So I think that just to make the connection, I think that's what this song could use, is something that people could sing along with. And that's a lot of words to get. I was talking about how you go into the record store and you can't remember the song, but you remember the hook. So we don't really get the hook here. It's at the end of the phrase. So I think that's what this song could use, a hook or a signature riff or something like that would help it out a lot. But I love the groove. I love the singing. I love the fact that it's a female and then it sounds like a male voice comes in. It's a good balance of things to listen to. But it's those little things that make that connection that are important, because people buy records and whatever they stream or they listen, whatever, they don't know why they like the record, but it just makes them feel
Right.
they could connect
Yeah.
to it. So that's what I would say to that writer.
Okay. Well, I'm going to confess that's one of my songs.
Is that one of your songs?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
But I didn't want to make you feel like, oh, I got to be nice.
Right. No, but I would do that because that's what helps. And then again, it's just my opinion. And with songs, it's so subjective. There's no right or wrong, but in my business, if I'm going to listen to something, I'm going to tell you what I honestly think, and then it could come out and you could go right out the window.
But I was hoping that you work close with the Grammys. You hear successful things all day long.
I hear.
And then you also, I heard you say in another interview that you had a 3-year job and you had to write songs like on the spot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
That's
so
part of
that
it.
must have been
With the experience of dissecting songs, you know, after doing that for a few years, I realized that's not what I wanted to do. That's not why we started playing music.
No,
We all
not
started
really.
because we love
Just
music.
came from the heart.
Yeah, but then eventually, sometimes it turns into a business.
Sure.
Then you get into that situation. I would say, okay, but what I say, every experience is a good experience. And what I got out of that is like how to dissect songs. Okay, this is a hit record right now. Write me one of them, but not exactly that, right? So I learned what elements were in the songs and try to create something that people could grab a hold to.
Like some people, I guess if you're big and not everyone that's big thinks the same, but you're less of an artist and more of I'm a hit maker. I'm a kid, that's what I do. And then you'll have an artist like Jesse Johnson who will say, I've never said that in my life. I'm writing this song. So he's more of an artist. And what say you? Where do you come in on the equation? What do you think? Is it possible to say, I'm going to write a hit?
Yeah.
And you really have
Yeah.
tools to make that happen?
Yeah, with an artist, you mean if the artist is who they are, and I just make suggestions and stuff. If there's some person who's really open and want to make a connection, they could listen to me or not. But everybody wants to increase their territory, and it is. Although we don't want to be competitive, it's very competitive in terms of. So if you have the basic elements of making the connection, there's no specific way to do it. You can always do it your way, your style, but those elements have to be there. Am I making a connection to that person? Am I saying something they could relate to? Am I using the right word choices? Because words are so powerful.
Yes, they are.
You can switch your word and people go, oh, I get it. Oh, I know what they're talking about. And sometimes people use words that only mean something to them, some kind of personal experience that they had, and the world is going, what do you mean by that? I didn't have that experience. What is that you're talking about? It's like really just go back and doing the rewrite and working with the artist going, and most artists want that too. Just wordsmithing something or giving another melody or something that the world can sing to will make the difference. When I work with artists, I listen, and then if it's cool, it's cool. And if I make suggestions, it's like, I just put it out there. And it might be better if you try this. And then ask some people, friends that you trust, play your stuff and go, how did you feel about that? Does it feel like it was needing something? Did you get my story? Was it easy to sing along with? Is it something you could relate to? How did the music feel? Did it make you feel good? And then certain things like you do all that telling your good story, you have your good hook. And then there's certain nonsense songs. It has the other element way bigger than so sometimes you have to unlearn. You have a song like Whoop, There It Is. What does that mean? I love that song.
I don't think anybody was like, whatever, it was catchy.
Yeah, for me, it made me feel good.
Yeah.
It made me feel great. I listen to that song all the time. Whoop, there it is. I can, head can bounce a little bit and all that. And that was the purpose of that song. Who let the dogs out? You know what I'm saying? So just the ability to know all this stuff, to learn, and then just as quickly unlearn some of these things to make it work. And the thing about those type of songs I mentioned, Whoop, There It Is, Who Let the Dog Out, they made a connection.
Yeah, they did. And what's interesting to this point is Mariah Carey, because she's a hugely successful, always dance to her own drum when it comes to whatever she And she writes with a lot of big words.
Right.
And I've heard a lot of people when I'm listening with them,
My
they're like,
song,
why do
vibrating.
girls always use those kind of words? Because it just, I don't know. But
Yes.
it makes sense to me. But I've always been into words. So I've learned 5 words a day.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
junior high, me and my friends, and we were just weird.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that doesn't bother
Mariah
me.
Carey, I'm such a big fan of hers.
Me
and
too.
I think how long she's been able to sustain this business.
Mhm.
And she started off with a major label and all this type of stuff and doing the pop thing and just, but always being herself, always controlling. I think probably because she wrote her own words and
Very
melodies.
helpful.
So she was able to express herself. She took other people's music, but she always was able to express herself and go through the generations and go through the big pop songs. What's the You're a Hero, or whatever, to hip hop and all that kind of stuff, and using samples. And she's really, I have a real good friend, Walter Afanasieff, who did a lot of writing with her. And I'm just so happy
Wrote
for their success.
That first stuff, like,
Yeah. The
I'm
very
kinda
first thing was Visions of Love
Vision
with
of Love.
Narda Michael Walton.
oh.
And that was revolutionary.
I remember I was in the car
Right.
driving, that song came on. I'm like,
Yeah.
we
I
were
mean,
all, who is this?
just big. The song was just big and all that. And she had did the big production. And she's amazing. And she doesn't have to do another thing in life. She's done it. She's like a Stevie Wonder. He don't write another song, he'd be fine.
That was a master class.
Yeah.
And I love how you balance theory with feeling, because that's what makes a great songwriter. Like
Yeah.
you've been saying, connect.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Just making you feel some. When I'm producing vocals, I'm going like, okay, it's like the person's got to relate to what you're doing, put that in it or whatever. And sometimes you just holler at the right time,
Yeah.
just to, you know how Gladys Knight always makes you feel like you're in her living room.
Yeah.
And she sings the right note at the right time on the right word to make you get it. Anyway.
In your book, Donald Lawrence says, for a singer to come into a session knowing their part is basic.
Yeah.
The nuances, dynamics,
Right.
feel, the heart of the song are where the work lies.
Yeah.
Would you walk me through that process for a singer just starting out?
Yeah, the thing is almost the difference is like painting
Like
with numbers, right? As opposed, so you get it, right? You can sing the words, but then you have to put your personality and your whole emotion, your character, you have to put you in it. And I think that Donald was talking about more like choir singing because he's a master choir director, but he also does a lot of lead directing too. When it comes to choir, it's dynamics and those kind of things, breathy and moving together as a big group, those type of things. And as a lead vocalist, it's more like you learn the melody, you know the words and stuff, but who are you? What do you have to say? And thus coming to the session and really studying before you get there so you can come present with your whole self. Knowing who you are is how you want to say that. So that takes a lot of study, how you want to do it, how you get to the second verse, you want to phrase it maybe a little different from the first verse so you could put emphasis on certain words. Instead of doing the same, I'm going to do an alternate melody based on the original melody and that kind of stuff. So that takes a lot of practice and stuff. My dear friend, Narda Michael Walton, who produced Aretha and all these great people, he used to tell me about producing Aretha. She is the master studier. He gives her a song like Freeway of Love, and she says, bring it to me, and she lives with it. She's not reading a piece of paper. By the time she gets to the studio, she knows the song and she's making it hers. That's a big, as an artist, sometimes the producer has to pull it out of you, but it's so great when the artist knows himself well enough, where the producer may have just to make suggestions or whatever. You get somebody like Aretha, you can't tell her nothing.
I know, right?
You know?
Do something else.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the part that trips up so many creatives, and that's the business side. Because dreaming is beautiful, but sustainability is freedom.
Yeah, right.
What are some of the biggest challenges songwriters face today when it comes to navigating the business?
I think it's, first of all, just understanding the business, but taking care of your own business first. So the first thing is to protect your intellectual property. We write a song, the first thing you want to do is copyright the song. So that's the first basic thing. And then the art of negotiation, and whether you have to start your own publishing company, because that's where all the business lies. So you have a big pie, which is the song, and half of the pie is the songwriting part, and the other half is the publishing part. The whole pie belongs to you, but you had got the half that's got to be the business side, where that's where all your contracts and your registrations are done and all that kind of stuff. So understanding how that works, and you can make sure when you that the in your publishing hat that you've done the copyright, that you have a mechanical license with the label, whoever's releasing it, that you registered with BMI or ASCAP, whoever your performance rights organization is, that you've done all those basic things. And then the next part is, okay, who's going to hear it placing the song? If you're not putting it out on your own record, you as an artist, then you want to try to get someone to record your song. How do we do that? Because a lot of those things are, it seems like they are, what do you call it, when people are in cahoots? I forget the right term for it. But so just try to get in that circle, feel like you're locked out there, gatekeepers.
Out of the click.
Out of the click, yeah,
Yeah.
if that's the word.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so cliquish, you get the song and all. And guess what? It is. They have gatekeepers and stuff, partly because people don't want to get involved with people who may not have their business together, and there's drama later. The other part of it is that they want to keep themselves working. The other part is that when a person realizes the person writes hit songs, they keep coming back to them. And usually it's the same people that are in those cliques. First thing is to have your act together, your business together, and then try to figure out how to get with people who are doing stuff. So it's like showing up to events. Somebody's performing somewhere. Okay, great. Do I know their manager? Do I know their driver? Do I know their hairdresser? Do I know? Who do I know that let them know that I'm a songwriter and I want to collaborate or I want to get something on their record? And the thing is to really have studied whatever artist you're approaching, so you have something that you know that they would like, that type of thing. And then you want to, if you meet an artist that you want to collaborate with, the thing is to collaborate with them and to let them know, to let them hear your songs. Hearing their song is basically to let them know that you're happening. You're a great writer. But what you really want to do is say, look, this is my songs. Let's write something together. Because the song that you write with the artist, that's the song that's more likely that's going to get on their record, because what? They own half of it.
Right.
There is business, right? So they own half of the publishing, they own half of it. So they have an interest and they have participation income in that song that you wrote with them. So that song is more likely to get on their record, then your song could be better. It's going to be all that stuff. But the business side is, so you want to find artists and you want to collaborate with them in some kind of way. And some artists are really just genuinely looking for a good song. They're not trying to be writers. That's where you strike gold.
On to Papa.
You know, get your song in there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you want to collaborate with people. And those are the songs that's going to get on records.
When you think back over your career, is there like a collaboration that just warms your heart every time you think of it? You must have had lots of experience.
Yeah, I've had a lot of songs I've collaborated with people, but I think that Bill Summers song, there's no call it what you want, that was probably my first. I collaborated all the time with Clay Tobin and Bill Summers, but we brought somebody new into the fold, and it was Kevin Toney from Blackbirds, who was a group that I grew and was signed to Fantasy. We were signed to Fantasy at first before signing with MCA. It was a label made, and I loved the Blackbirds, and he came up with this groove. I love this. So that's very magical. And because of my very first top 10, to hear that on the radio, this song, again, I wrote the lyrics back in my little garage with that little piano or whatever, and told the story right there. And then to go in the studio, to become a record, and then we toured as well. So let's tour all around, and you're in stadiums, you're in places, and see thousands of people singing this song that you wrote.
Must be so rewarding.
So I think probably most memorable, I think anybody, when they first time they hear this song on the radio, that would be the one. That would be the one.
With AI and free streaming, people are less likely to pay for music. So how should an indie artist expect to make money?
That's a good question. AI is a double-edged sword. We have to embrace it because it's here and it's not going anywhere. And you want to, and plus what's weird about it is that your intellectual property is hard to detect if somebody's stealing it or not, because you could say, give me Amytra I want part of Amytra. I want part Madonna. I want part Beyonce. I want part of Coldplay. Give me some Earth, Wind, and Fire in there. And you can have 30 artists in there. By the time the song comes out, you don't even hear Amytra anymore. Okay, so that's the tricky part. And we're still trying to find ways to combat that. I say we, the Recording Academy and the Library of Congress. The rule now is that if it starts with a human and you only use AI to enhance it, then it's yours. You could copyright it, that kind of thing. If it starts with AI, you can't really copyright it. But we're on an honor system. So how many people use an AI?
Aren't going to tell
It's
people.
going to
they
tell
used it.
people, right? That's right. The other thing that AI has done that with Spotify, we've gone from 60 songs being released per day to over 100,000 songs because it's so easy to create and release music now with AI. You don't know how it's generated. That has made the pie, the slice for songwriters much thinner because it's Spotify, they take 30% from advertisers or subscriptions or whatever it is. And then the other 70% is split amongst the writers and the creatives and stuff. Now, with more music being released every day, that pie is even thinner because no matter how many artists there are, there's still that 70% that is being divided by. It made it tough in that way. But I guess the positives about AI is that for where data is really important. So artists trying to figure out who's my audience, who's listening to most of my music and how trying to reach them for marketing purposes, or you're figuring out who your fans are and who you can relate to with things to say, how to market basically is great for that and having the information. That information is really important to go, okay, my song is being played in Brazil. Okay, so I need to reach out to that market. Maybe I need to tour that region because they're playing my music and I could do big business there. Your merchandising, your whatever, you could cater to a certain market if you have that data. AI is great. AI is too dangerous. It's also dangerous. So yeah, we're still in that gray area in terms of how it could really help in terms of improve our livelihoods.
But I just remember, I feel like it almost, correct me, and we could have different
I'm not an
opinions.
expert.
It's like back in the day, like in the 80s, when a new song would be released, you just assumed you were going to pay $10 for an album,
Yes.
$15, whatever it was.
I know.
And you never questioned it. And it was
Right.
worth it to you. And
Yeah.
in some ways, I feel like the streaming has cheapened the value
Oh,
of art.
absolutely. I have a good friend that I write with, a dear friend named Andre Pestis, and he writes a lot of rock and country, and so Huey Lewis, Bonnie Raitt, all that kind of stuff. And he's old school like me, but when this whole new thing came in with streaming, and he's a person who's made a lot of money by people buying records, and then all of a sudden they stop. So we do seminars and stuff, and the young kid says, Mr. Pestis, what advice do you give for a young songwriter coming up in the business today? He says, run. That was his answer. But now we're making music through getting song placements on TV and film, trying to reach out to music supervisors, that kind of thing.
Is that
Gaming.
something anybody can do, or do you have to know somebody who knows something?
You have to know the part I talk about showing up. You hear there's organizations, there's the Recording Academy, that's the West Coast songwriters, there's people like that. When they have these seminars and conferences and stuff, the thing is to show up.
Okay.
To show up when there's some music supervisor there screening songs or just trying to get their information and that kind of thing. Or if you have an opportunity to get your song critiqued with one of them, do that. And to find out something about their company, something about them when you show up. That's the whole thing about the art of networking. If you show up to a situation, I used to be master at that because I was a real shy person. I would show up to something, sit in the back of the room, check it out,
Same.
and I'm gone. Okay, I got the information, but at the end of the day, I really hadn't done anything but I have a bunch of notes. So the thing is, when you hear about something going on, try to find out about that person that's getting ready to speak or that panel of people as something that you can relate to. Try to listen to their songs so you could, when you go up to them and say, hey, you're really great. That's not good enough. Hey, I really love that song. That's not good enough. Say, hey, you know what? That song that you wrote, when you went to that bridge, why did you go to B flat instead of going to G, whatever, that kind of thing. So you know something about them or what they're doing, and you can have a conversation with them to go, oh, this person really knows music. This person really knows my song, and they could answer you and that whatever. Hey, do you mind if I give you my number? Would I take your number? That kind of thing. And so now you've done something. Can I let you hear some of my songs? That kind of thing. And they like one of your songs, maybe something, get something going. And then it comes down to, hey, can I collaborate with you? And that type of thing. So that's how you get, or maybe they just want to take your song as it is and go, if they're a music supervisor, I got this thing I could use your song for. And the thing to ask those people when you get a chance to meet them, what are you working on? If they're a film supervisor and they're looking for music for the chase scene, not to send them your love ballad.
Exactly.
So you try to find dun, 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 dun. You want to send, oh, I'm looking for the chase scene.
Yeah.
You send them that thing and only send them 2 or 3 songs. I know that when people send me songs, Mr. Batiste can see, yeah, and they send me 18 songs. It's so overwhelming. When do you have time to listen to 18 songs? So you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to listen to them when I get time. But when do you have time? That time never comes because it's so overwhelming. But if somebody sends you 2 songs or 3 songs, you could say, okay, I could check that out. And vice versa, in reverse. That's when you ask, what are you looking for? And send them some very pointed, very specific to what they're asking for. I have a friend, Michael Bearden. Michael Bearden is a great musical director. He just does the Kennedy Honors. And at the time of Michael Jackson's death, he was his musical director. And now he musical directs Lady Gaga and stuff. But he also did in the film and film scoring and stuff like that. And he says, look, listen to what the director is saying. If he's asking you for peanut butter sandwich, don't give him a steak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to show what they can do. And so I know he asked for a peanut butter sandwich, but I'm going to give him a steak anyway, just because I can.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And say, no, I asked you for a peanut that doesn't fit. That kind of thing.
So what's one myth about the music business you wish you could bust for good?
One myth, I think that players are playing.
No.
Ain't nobody playing out here.
No.
This is a business. Our job is to make it look easy.
They have no idea how many hours and hours it took to make it look that smooth and
It
that
is to
good.
make it look that good. And then the whole point is like, how am I going to get to these people? How am I going to make it? What action plan do I have to make this happen? I think for people, it looks so easy, they actually believe it.
Oh, that must be the life. You have no idea
Right.
what they pay to be there.
Yeah, exactly. What sacrifices they made with their family, their time, their all that kind of stuff. Money, everything.
Hours of rehearsal.
Yeah. And so I think that's probably the biggest myth. I like for people to respect all the work that goes into something. There's no way somebody give me their CD and I toss it, because I know that took 3 years of sacrifice or whatever. It took all this stuff, whatever, to go through. You check it out, you honor it, that kind of thing. And I think people don't have that same type of empathy or understanding and respect for artists.
You're a wonderful resource. So here in the Dream Room, we always ask our guests to reconnect with that inner compass, the one that brought them here in the first place. What does dreaming big mean to you now in this chapter of your life?
Dreaming big means there's not a really answer to that, but I know what I want to do at this stage of my life. I want to recognize and walk in gratitude and just recognize that I must always keep evolving. Is no matter, okay, whatever great thing I did yesterday or today, okay, that was today.
Yeah.
So what can I do next to reinvent myself, to evolve and keep learning something better? Because once you reach the top, there's nowhere to go but down. So you want to keep reaching. And that's why now I'm 68 years, I'll be 69 this year. And the thing is, I feel like I'm 30 because I always got somewhere to go. I got some plans, I got stuff to do. It's what do I do?
You feel passion still,
Next, yeah. It's like, this is really great and it keeps me alive. That's what we live for. So I think we must have that. We must keep evolving. We must keep reaching, keep learning something new. And that happens. Even I learn from my kids. I learn from people. I learn from you. I learn from
Babies, animals. If you could sit down with your younger self, that first-time songwriter, what would you tell him?
I tell them it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. You don't know that. And so many things, I think in a lot of ways, this world, this business It's geared to beat you down. You feel like that sometimes and make you feel like you're not worthy. In part, like even more so now than ever because of social media. Nobody's really posting about their struggle or their whatever. You see the big car, you see all that kind of
Right.
stuff, people who have made it and that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking that that's more now than ever, I think. But even back then, you have your insecurities. You don't know where you fit, where you belong. You have to know that you're all right.
Yeah.
You believe in the golden rule, you fine.
And finally, what's your message to the next generation of songwriters, artists, and visionaries coming up?
I think almost like the last answer, keep showing up. Just show up. Just keep showing up for yourself, for everybody around you, for whatever, but mainly for yourself. And I run through this every day of having this long list of stuff to do, stuff to do. And the list gets bigger and bigger. I used to, when I was younger, do 15 things a day, but now if I do 3 good things, I'm good. Then learning how to put yourself on the list. I think we may have talked about this before. Put yourself on the list. And now I'm learning how to put myself at the top of the list. I take care of so many people and so many things. If it's not the house, it's whatever, the kids, whatever, and all these things are great. And guess what? They all are a priority. Everything I do is important.
Yeah.
So-
But if you don't take care of yourself,
but you got to take care of yourself. So I'm learning how to do that and put myself on that list, put myself at the top of the list. Not every day, but every once in a while, I do give myself a wake-up call and go, you know what? I got all this stuff to do, but today I ain't doing shit.
Fair enough.
I need some rest.
So where can folks get a copy of The Art and Business of Songwriting?
It is at tinyurl.com/Larry B. Books. So it's tinyurl.com/Larry B. Books.
Okay, to all our listeners, if you've got a melody in your heart, a lyric in your journal, or a groove in your bones, chase it. We'll catch you next time in the Dream Room. Until then, keep dreaming out loud. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah!